Get Professor Bhanumurthy in, please. Professor Bhanumurthy.
I hope I'm audible.
Jesus.
Yes.
Yes.
You are. Yeah.
Yeah, there were a couple of points which I had put down in the chat. Of course, one of them right in the beginning was answered by Amit. And two other things. One, I said that the emphasis on charity in the form of money. I think there is a need to have a wider perspective on it, because our services, I think one thing that the development sector is facing is that people are not giving their services in charity so that they can do more of voluntary work and help out in terms of human resources. That is one form of charity or donation. And like you talked about Vinoba Bhave, land, then food, clothing and all. So I think that these are some of the, being an economist, we always talk about real resources rather than money. So I think that we should also think about how to tap real resources and how to tap the, imagination or the inspiration of people to be able to give more in terms of real resources. This was one thing. And you pointed out about how the backward areas are really not, who should be the recipients and are actually not getting most of the funds which are coming from corporates in terms of 2% CSR and so on. So there, if you remember, I think Amita would also remember that the early meeting that we did in, I think, this thing, where was that, in Lodi Estate. So there were some participants who came from the corporate bodies. They knew nothing about CSR. They had sent their chartered accountant or someone. Amita, I think you would remember. And so what I'm saying is, since 2013 till now, I don't see that the corporates who are supposed to be donating this 2%, they have any idea of what is the need of the sector, how it should be, how these funds should be, channeled, and which is the direction in which it should go, what kind of projects deserve to get the money. So just because it is convenient, like you just pointed out, that Jamna Lal Bajaj or someone, would concentrate only on the neighboring areas. There you will find some Rampur village for which it's very convenient for all corporations to come and dump their money over there, or like now Amita is pointing about tax holidays and things like that. So so I'm saying that like we teach this as a subject also. So we talk about reverse funnel approach. So in the reverse funnel approach, the funds from different organizations could be distributed across a wider range of areas, wider range of sectors and wider regions, and that way it could go to the backward regions. Those are the 2 points I just wanted to make.
Thank you so much, Professor Bhanumurthy. Mathew, there are a few questions that have emerged, and those questions broadly are, A, what do we do to channelize this religious funding to the NGO sector? Is there something we can do on that? The second is that, can we move towards taxation rather than charity to make people give more? And third is the big question, how do we encourage spending towards areas that need that money? Your maps were revealing that the rich get richer, and the poorer areas do not get even the development funding. So how do we incentivize that?
Yeah, actually, in the CSR area, we have been trying to say to many companies, we have mentioned it in the CSR report also, that they should be funding the poorest districts, and as the current government says, the aspirational districts. If any funding is taking place, they should be able to get better tax exemptions, etc. There's a second area which of course, we have been lobbying about is the tax exemption. Actually, currently we have an ATG exemption, which is 50%, whereas the normal exemptions which were there earlier was 100% under 35 AC and 35(1)(2), etc. I think the current government has removed that 100% tax exemption. People actually, do they give due to religious reasons or do they give it due to tax exemption? My belief is a lot of people give it due to tax exemption. Having said that, religious charities, especially like Tirumalai, Tirupati, Devasthanams, they fund a lot of education work. They also fund disability work. But a lot of civil society work, which is into advocacy, capacity building, etc., they don't seem to see a value in it. There is also certain charities in Gujarat which give to NGOs also from time to time. But my critique of NGOs is that we do not present a picture which is very, very good. In the sense, whenever I see an NGO report, they keep talking about a lot of statistics, lot of effort done here, numbers, numerate, lot of data, etc. But actually, common people do not understand data. Common people do not understand statistics. What people need to do is there a person, let us say somebody has helped Mathew to do better in life, or somebody has been able to help a child named Savitri, and if Savitri has improved her life, that becomes more realistic than writing a huge amount of data. And I think people give to people. So none of our brochures carry that. Maybe some of them are doing it, but most of them don't do it. As a result of it, people don't give because, and religious charities, none of us, in fact, when I was in HelpAge, I spoke to a lot of gurudwaras in Punjab, and a lot of gurudwaras were prepared to help us. Of course, the cost was elderly, they were prepared to help. So it is, if you go and talk to them, they're willing to help. But our breed of NGO people don't go to some of them to talk. They are very reluctant to talk to them. They think by talking to religious people, we become non-secular. It is not true. You don't become non-secular. You only try to tap their religious sentiments and get funding for your cause. And I also agree with Bhanumati that food, what is given, the clothes, what is given, there is no estimation of such things. Like in the city of Delhi, on Monday you can get food, on Tuesday you go to Hanuman Mandir, you will get food, on Thursday you go to Sai Baba Mandir, you will get food, and on Sunday if you go to Bhairav Mandir, you will get booze also. So the thing is, every day of the week is covered by these temples in the city. So one doesn't go hungry at all, but there is no estimation of this. Maybe we only estimate money, but there's a lot of non-monetary things which are actually being given. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Thanks. As Ingrid says that it's quite ironical that it's the PSUs that do a better job of targeting their CSR to poorer areas than the corporates do, and that is something that we need to correct. But as you say, that is something that requires a lot of work to be done. Mathew, just one thing that this whole culture of giving. Is it? Have you looked at other countries or just the US? And are there other countries that give or is philanthropy really a US culture?
No, actually, when I was in Charities Aid Foundation, I've looked at the British giving figures, and I also have some data on the giving in Pakistan. And the giving in Pakistan is also quite similar to India, but religious giving is on a high. And but in Britain, what happens is there seems to be a better culture of giving. I am not privy to other countries. These four countries I have data on which I've seen, and but I think what we need to do in India is we need to improve the level of asking, and of course, and unless we ask, nobody is going to give. So I always tell fundraisers, different people need to be asked differently. The people who sit on their computers on email, you got to send a mailer on Friday evening so that they can see it on Saturday morning. There are some people who will respond to telephone calls. There are some people who will only respond to if their friends call, which is warm giving, warm fundraising. So there are different people give in different ways, and the way to ask is you need to ask. And of course, many of I do not hesitate in asking people to give, and unless you ask people, nobody is going to give. That is the situation, and the more you can ask, the more you can get. And of course, our Christian peace, every Sunday they keep asking. They do not tire. Every Sunday in the church, the priest is saying, why don't you give more to the church? Why don't you give? So like that, of course, you need to have some people who will continue to ask. So this is what I think people will have to do if more money or more resources have to flow to the sector.
So brilliantly and so simply put, Mathew, that if there is a supply problem, take care of the demand issue, right? So ask when people are not giving, go ahead and ask better. It's really, I think, and Matthew's consistently said that at every forum that it is the quality of the ask that really matters, and that is a brilliant insight. I think from this discussion, I'm sure all of you have got a lot of very valuable inputs on the entire historical journey that Mathew took on the religion being a major factor, moving on to CSR, government spending, etc. We would be really keen to carry on Mathew's research and see what happens to giving in the East. I mean, what do the Japanese do? Does China or Korea, which are Korea, especially South Korea, with all its riches, how do they manage? What happens in the Middle East? What happens in rich countries like Switzerland, etc.? It will be very fascinating to study that. It is and to see tax structures that, as Mathew very nicely put it, that on one end you get salvation forever, on the other hand you will get a ATG certificate. So it is a very easy choice to make in terms of giving. Give to the temple and you're saved for 7 lives at least. Thanks, Mathew. Thank you all so much.